Hey guys, so in this video, we're gonna be reviewing the Airpod Maxes. Are they still worth it in 2024 after 3 years of being on the market? Do they live up to the hype? Well, let's take a look at all the features, the likes, the dislikes after I have used these for a few months now. To be quite frank with you guys, like I'm a pretty average consumer when it comes to these tech products. I like trying them out. I like using them for my day-to-day work. So how do they work from a guy like me who just uses them for work, for play, for leisure, for fun? That's gonna be the review in today's video, so let's jump straight into it. First up, we're gonna talk about the build and the quality of the Airpod Maxes. What do I like, what do I not like? So first of all, I really like the aluminum like kind of circle things that they have on the side, on each side. They're very clean looking when you put them on. You guys can see right now, that's kind of how they look when you put them on. So I like that a lot. I also like that you can remove the earbud cups. So you guys can see right here, this is the right side. They have a left side, of course, and you can put them right back in. It's magnetic, so you just put them in like that, and there you go. So it's a very, very nice build. I also like the fact that it has a steel frame around the Airpod Maxes. You guys can see right here, it's a steel frame. They're very easy to push in and push out. You can make each side longer or shorter. So that is very nice. As well, it has a mush cushion at the top. So that is a really nice way to kind of wear them so they feel very comfortable. And you know, I can't really complain about the way they were built. They were built very cleanly, and overall, I like the build of the Airpod Maxes. Okay, so another thing I hear about the Airpod Max is that a lot of people think they're too heavy compared to other headphones, but personally, I don't really have that issue at all. When I put them on, they feel really comfortable, and I don't feel like they're very heavy. In fact, they actually feel very light in terms of a lot of the headphones I've ever worn. So overall, can't really complain with the weight of the headphones. I know maybe if you're like a smaller girl and you're wearing these might become heavy, but because I'm a 6-foot man, you know, it doesn't really bother me much at all. So just keep that in mind, that the weight has been a complaint for some people, but for me, I can say that it doesn't really bother me too much. There's really only 2 buttons that really matter. So it is the digital crown button, and it is the sound changing mode button here. So basically the digital crown button is right here. This is what you click to play and start music. And then this button changes the mode your Airpod Maxes are in. So if you click this button, it'll go into transparency mode. And if you click it again, it'll go into the noise canceling mode. So how do I think both of these modes are? So I think the noise cancellation is like one of the best noise cancellations on the market. Yes, there are other headphones that offer noise cancellation, but I've tested this with my roommate. We have tried to turn on noise cancellation with other headphones, and we tried to turn it on with this one. When you turn this guy on, I mean, everything is basically, you know, you're in your own world when you wear these things. So it's a very different feeling, and it's a nice way to turn on noise cancellation when you want to get into the zone, when you want to do your own work. So I definitely think the Airpod Maxes have great noise cancellation, and I would definitely recommend it. And then for the transparency mode, I would say that also super well done. If you want to be able to have a conversation and listen to music when this is on low, it's totally possible with these things. So I'd say both modes are really kind of unbeatable for a wireless headphone. So I definitely think that both of the modes that it comes with are great for both situations. And then the digital crown, also you can turn this guy, you can turn the digital crown, and that'll change the volume, and you know, if you're talking on the phone, it'll change the volume as well. So that's a really nice feature. You can also double click it to end a call, and you can do some other things with that. But overall, their 2 buttons are very easy to use once you get the hang of putting these guys on. So I would say the buttons are very useful, and I like also that there's not, you know, buttons all around it. It's just 2 simple buttons right there. So I would say the utility of those 2 buttons are really well done. So if you wanted to reset the Airpod Maxes, you'd have to click the 2 buttons here. So it's the digital crown and the other like mode changing. You'd hold both of these down at the same time, and you hold it down for 5 seconds, and then that would activate the reset mode on the Airpod Maxes. So do keep that in mind. If you do buy a pair of these, that's a great little tip, is just make sure you hold both of these down for 5 seconds each, and you'll reset it if that ever needs to happen, because again, this does not have a power mode. So keep that in mind. Okay, so now that we've talked about the build and the controls of the AirPod Maxes, what are my thoughts of the comfort? Well, these things I would say are crazy comfortable. I, like I said, can wear these for hours. I would say the only complaint I have is that when this top part is on my head for too long, it does start to feel a little heavy after 2 or 3 hours, but you know, I wouldn't say that's a big complaint because I'm not usually even wearing my AirPod Maxes more than 2 hours when I'm working. So I would say that that's not too big of a deal. So I won't complain about that too much. But if you're somebody who wears headphones all day for work or for whatever reason, these might get a little heavy, that I mentioned that earlier, but for me, again, I don't really have that issue. Where I do have a slight issue with the AirPod Maxes, and that is with the carrying case. So believe it or not, I actually don't hate the carrying case like a lot of YouTubers do. I watched like a few reviews on this, and basically everybody that I've talked to have said like, oh, the carrying case looks like a purse and it's super ugly and all that stuff. But honestly, I think when you put them inside of their case, they look pretty good. They look pretty good. I don't mind it at all. So one issue I do have with this case though, is that the AirPod Maxes do not, and I repeat, they do not have a power button. Now, I know that maybe that's like a new thing with the new tech, is that they wanna, you know, take away that feature so that it's easier. You don't have to think about turning it off, turning it on. And I understand that idea, but the thing is, in practicality, it's super annoying that, you know, these AirPod Maxes have to go inside of their carrying case every single time that, you know, you wanna be done with them. Like, it's actually more annoying than just turning off a button. You have to put them inside of their case so that they don't die faster, because if you do not put these things in their case, they're gonna start dying at a quicker pace. So keep that in mind if you do pick up a pair of AirPod Maxes in 2024. These guys do not have a power button, so whenever you take them off, you're gonna have to put them back into the case, or else they will not enter low power mode and they're gonna start dying a little bit faster. So I will say that, you know, with all the things that I've said good about the AirPod Maxes, that is one thing that I think they made a big mistake on. So keep that in mind. And one last thing I wanted to say is that if you have the Apple ecosystem, meaning you have like an iPad and a MacBook Pro, an iPhone, these things have another little benefit, which is if you put them on and you're using like your MacBook Pro or your iPad and you're like switching between devices, the AirPod Maxes will automatically switch without you touching any buttons, and you can just be watching like a YouTube video on your phone, and then let's say you want to go start doing some work on your AirPod or your MacBook Pro, and then you go to your iPad, they all switch simultaneously and you don't have to click any buttons. So it's just super nice that that is a fluid transition. And also, if you have a non-Apple, like let's say a Windows computer or a Samsung phone, these also connect to those pretty easily. It's not as good as having, you know, the Apple ecosystem, which is why I would say that's another reason to get these if you already are in the Apple ecosystem. But even if you're not, I wouldn't necessarily say that it's still not good, because honestly, you can connect these, you know, fairly easily. You just use Bluetooth, click on the AirPod Maxes, and they will connect pretty easily as well to whatever you're trying to connect to. So they still work good on, you know, non-Apple devices, but I think they work exceptionally well on those Apple devices. So that is another reason why these guys are great for the Apple ecosystem. Okay, so what do I finally think of the AirPod Maxes in 2024? You know, we've talked about quite a few things today, and I think that, you know, overall, these guys are still a great pair of wireless headphones. Do I think they're worth the $559 price tag? You know, I honestly don't know. I would say I lean towards no, just because you can get so many different headphones for that price point. But I will say, with the exception that I think if you're gonna use a pair of headphones for years, and I do see myself doing that with the AirPod Maxes, I do think in that regard, it might be worth using the AirPod Maxes and getting yourself a, you know, nice little pair of these, because yes, they are expensive, and yes, some people think that the price point is a little bit outrageous, and I can agree with that. But the thing is, if you're gonna be using headphones like me on a daily basis all the time, in that way, I think you could justify a pair of AirPod Maxes. So I would say that's the one time I would accept that. And, you know, maybe I surprised a few of you guys with all the, you know, nice features I said this thing has, and the great comfort, the durability, the great build. And why would I go ahead and say that they're probably not worth it? Well, I think the price tag is just so high up there, and Apple being Apple, charging such a demanding price, I think is a little bit too much for the everyday consumer. But again, I think if you're gonna use these on a daily basis for your work, your play, and you have the extra money, why not? I think these things are a great pair of headphones, and I don't see you regretting your purchase, because I've had these guys for quite a while and I can say that I really enjoy them. So I hope you guys did enjoy this video, and if you guys did, please give it a big thumbs up and let me know, what do you guys think of the AirPod Maxes? Will you guys get yourself one of these in 2024? Is it too old? Are you guys waiting for the AirPod Maxes 2? Or are you guys just gonna get a different pair of headphones? And if you are, drop down what kind of headphones you're getting, because I'm gonna stick with the AirPod Maxes for now, but if something better comes in the future, I might look into that. All right, guys, I hope you had a good one, and take care.